That night, in the barren cornfields of Red River, Tennessee, in the year 1817, John Bell had no idea he was stepping into hell itself. He sat in his rickety log cabin, swallowed by suffocating darkness, his calloused hands gripping his hunting rifle so tightly that his knuckles turned ghostly white. His bloodshot eyes darted around the room, wild and primal, not from fear, but from the overwhelming certainty that something was watching. Beside him, Lucy, his gentle, weary-faced wife, clutched their 12-year-old daughter, Betsy, to her chest. The girl trembled violently, her body stiff with terror. Her skin was as pale as a corpse dragged fresh from the earth, her tangled hair matted with sweat, her wide, glassy eyes frozen in horror as if she had already glimpsed death itself. Outside, the wind howled through the cracks of the rotting wooden walls, carrying with it the damp stench of decayed leaves, wet soil, and something fouler. Something that reeked of old blood, of death long past but never at rest. Then it began tap, 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 a slow, deliberate knocking against the eastern wall. The sound was thin, sharp, like talons scraping against wood. John tilted his head, straining to listen, his breath turning shallow, his heartbeat a war drum in his chest. "Rats," he muttered, but his voice cracked when Lucy whispered, shaking, "John, that's not rats. It's bigger than that." Before he could answer, the knocking ceased, replaced by an awful, suffocating silence. The air thickened as if the very walls were bracing for something unspeakable. Then, boom! A thunderous explosion rattled the cabin as if an unseen force had taken a sledgehammer to the walls. Betsy screamed, her wail shattering the quiet. "Father! It's here! It's pulling my hair," she sobbed, her tiny hands clawing at the invisible force yanking her head backward. "I saw it, a shadow, on the ceiling." John sprang to his feet, rifle raised, spinning wildly. But the dim, flickering glow of the oil lamp revealed nothing. No intruder. No beast. Just the suffocating dark, the sound of Lucy's ragged sobs, and Betsy's terrified gasps. He roared into the night. "Who's there? Show yourself." The reply was not words, but a sound. A nightmarish scratch, claw-like nails dragging across the wooden floor, moving from one side of the room to the other. Then the furniture began to tremble. The rocking chair by the fireplace swayed violently as if something unseen had taken a seat. The small table by the window quivered. And then, a kitchen knife, oh, dear God, shot through the air like a bullet, embedding itself deep into the wall inches from Lucy's head. She shrieked, crumpling to the floor, pulling Betsy with her. "It's everywhere, Father!" Betsy wailed. "It's watching me. I feel it." John lunged for the knife, yanking it free, his hands shaking. But before he could act, an invisible force ripped the rifle from his grip. It soared through the air, smashed against the ceiling, and clattered to the floor with a hollow, lifeless thud. And then, it came. The laughter. Not human. Not of this world. A rasping, jagged cackle that oozed malice, slithering through the walls, the floor, the very air. It began as a whisper, then swelled into a storm, louder, sharper, more monstrous, until it consumed everything. The sound wrapped around them, tightened like a noose, suffocating the room in sheer terror. Betsy curled into Lucy's embrace, shrieking, "Father, it has claws. It's touching me." John spun to face her and froze. His blood turned to ice. On Betsy's delicate arm, fresh red gashes carved themselves into her flesh, deep, burning wounds appearing out of thin air, as though invisible talons were ripping through her skin. Drops of blood slid down her arm, splattering onto the wooden floor in slow, dreadful beats. Lucy screamed, "John, do something. It's killing her." But John couldn't move. couldn't speak. Because he heard it. A voice. A voice that did not belong to the living. A voice whispering right behind his ear. John Bell. I see you. He whirled around, but there was nothing. Nothing but darkness. Nothing but the icy wind snaking through the cabin, carrying with it the rotten scent of decay. Then, without warning, the oil lamp on the table snuffed out, plunging them into utter blackness. And the laughter of Kate, because now, they knew it was Kate, erupted into a full-blown, blood-curdling scream of amusement. It thundered through the house, drowning out Betsy's sobs, Lucy's cries, John's ragged breathing. The front door shook violently, rattling on its hinges as if 100 unseen fists were hammering against it. And outside, mingling with the unnatural laughter, came a howl, not a wolf's, not a dog's, but something warped, monstrous, something that did not belong in the realm of the living. John bellowed into the darkness, "Who are you?" And this time, it answered. Oh, it answered. With a whisper colder than death itself. I am Kate, John Bell. I am your nightmare, and this is only the beginning. The laughter rose again, a hideous, unholy symphony of malice, wrapping around them, choking them with terror. And then, the oil lamp flickered back to life. Its dim light fell upon Betsy's face, her eyes rolled back, mouth open in a silent scream, her small body limp in Lucy's arms. And on the wooden floor, a streak of fresh blood traced its way from Betsy's bedside to the door, as if Kate had marked her territory, a twisted warning of the horrors yet to come. Night 3. Betsy lay in bed, her eyes wide open, afraid to blink, afraid to breathe too loudly. The oil lamp flickered weakly, casting an eerie glow on her face, pale as a corpse freshly unearthed. Then, without warning, her blanket was yanked violently off the bed, no wind, no human hand, but an unseen force, cold and merciless, dragging it away as if trying to consume her whole. Betsy curled up, whispering, "Please, stop." But then it came, knock, 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 rising from the floor, from the walls, from the very air around her. And a voice, cold as death, hissing like the wind through a graveyard, spoke. Betsy. I like you. So soft, so fragile, so fun to play with. But your father, John Bell, I will rip him to pieces. Betsy screamed, bolting from the room, slamming into John and Lucy. John held her tightly, but his blood ran cold when he saw the deep, crimson claw marks on her arm, gouges so fresh they bled freely, as if the talons of a demon had just scraped against her flesh. He roared, "Who are you? Show yourself!" And it answered, with laughter that shook the walls like rolling thunder. I am Kate, John Bell. I am the nightmare you will never escape. You took my land, now I take your life. Then the house erupted, plates shattered, chairs overturned, windows cracked. Lucy collapsed to the floor, screaming as if her very soul was being dragged away with that laughter. The curse from the past. John never believed in ghosts, no, never, until Joshua, the only neighbor brave enough to approach, whispered the truth under the pouring rain by the old oak tree. Joshua trembled, clutching a wooden cross, his eyes darting wildly as if he'd already glimpsed the face of death. John, it's Kate Batts, the madwoman from the valley. You remember? The land you bought from her, she said it was paid for in blood and tears. She cursed you, John. She died raving in madness, mumbling her vengeance against you. And now she's back. John gritted his teeth. Don't talk nonsense. Kate Batts has been dead for 2 years. But before he could finish, a deafening crash echoed from inside the house. Betsy's scream ripped through the night, "Father!" It threw my bed. Joshua stepped back, murmuring, not her, but what she left behind. And deep within, John knew the land he had bought had come at a price. And that price was his life. A Night of Terror with Andrew Jackson. By 1819, rumors spread like wildfire. Hundreds of people gathered, whispering about the haunted Bell household. Even Andrew Jackson, the silver-haired general, a war hero with eyes sharp as steel, arrived to face the legend himself. He stepped down from his carriage, pistol at his side, and growled, "I don't believe in superstitions, Bell. If there's a ghost, I'll shoot it dead." But he did not realize he had stepped into the den of a demon. That night, Jackson and 3 of his men sat in the parlor. The air was heavy, thick as lead, the only sound the quiet crackling of the fire. Then it began, knock, 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 coming from every wall, faster, louder, like the heartbeat of death itself. A voice, mocking, razor-sharp, sneered, "Andrew Jackson, do you think your bullets can touch me? I like this game." A soldier screamed as his rifle was ripped from his grip, flung across the room, and slammed into the wall with such force that the wood splintered. Jackson drew his sword, but an invisible force struck him down, slamming him into the floor so hard his weapon clattered from his grasp. He roared, "Demon! I will burn this place to the ground." But Kate only laughed, oh, how she laughed, louder than ever before. "Try it, General. But I will remain long after your ashes are gone." That night, Jackson fled the Bell home, his horses screaming in terror. He later swore he would rather face the British again than stay another moment in that house. But Kate did not care for generals or guns. She only wanted John Bell. The climax, a death foretold. By December 1820, 3 years of torment had turned John Bell into a walking corpse. He lay in bed, his body skeletal, his skin ashen, his eyes sunken like empty graves. His breath was shallow, a candle's flame about to be snuffed out. Lucy sat beside him, clutching his hand, tears streaming down her face. "John, don't leave me." Betsy stood in the corner, trembling, too afraid to step closer. She had seen too much, felt the bruises, lost the handfuls of hair ripped from her scalp. That night, Kate came to finish it. Her laughter filled the room, growing, swelling, drowning out Lucy's sobs. "John Bell, I promised you, didn't I? Tonight, you belong to me. Drink, drink my potion." A black vial appeared on the bedside table. No one had placed it there, no one had seen where it came from. It reeked of decay, a stench thick as rotting flesh. John convulsed violently, foam bubbling from his lips, his eyes bulging as if ready to burst. He screamed one final time. "Kate, she's inside my head." Then he stopped breathing, dead before his family's eyes, as Kate's triumphant laughter rang through the house. Lucy collapsed. Betsy wailed, but Kate sang, oh, she sang a twisted melody that echoed across the fields, a proclamation to the world. "I have killed him." Later, the villagers fed the black liquid to a stray cat. The creature dropped dead instantly, its body convulsing, as if crushed by an unseen hand. The end? Or not? Kate did not stop after John's death. She made a promise to return, and she kept it. 7 years later, in 1828, villagers heard knocking from the bell which cave, knock, 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 followed by an eerie humming, a song rising from the darkness. A foolish boy named James, curious and reckless, stood at the entrance, lantern in hand, and whispered, "Who's there?" And Kate answered, her voice like ice. "I am Kate, and I never left. Would you like to play, James?" The lantern slipped from his grasp, shattering. James ran, screaming into the night, but Kate's laughter remained endless, echoing, like a curse never lifted. More than 200 years later, even today, March 18, 2025, people still hear the knocking from the cave. Some say it's the wind. Some say it's just a memory. But if you are brave or foolish enough to stand near Bell Witch Cave on a moonless night, you will hear it knock, knock, knock. And if you hear your name whispered in the wind, run. Run as fast as you can. Because Kate is still waiting, and this time, she doesn't just want John Bell. She wants us all.